Hello, my name is Steve Quinn. I'm working on, I'm continuing on with my video series of Ironclads and FLYERS, in which I created the USS Virginia, USS Monitor, CSS Virginia, USS Monitor, and HMS Huntley submarine from the American Civil War to fit within the Ironclads FLYERS game system, which is a miniatures tabletop miniatures wargame system, Aeronaval wargame system within the Space 1889 RPG system. Okay. This video series was actually inspired by USA President Donald J. Trump's Golden Fleet concept, and also the failures of the U.S. Navy from Ronald Reagan's administration to the present day concerning naval acquisitions and naval warship design concepts. So this is the year 2026. I did this stuff, the stuff that I've been doing in this video series, creating the warships and stuff. I've done this between 1980s through the 2000 odd years. So this is basically, I'm redoing from basically what I did back in those 20 plus years. I'm doing from within this video series. I'm redoing all of that from scratch within this video series. Well, I have within the RPG universe, role-playing game systems, and tabletop miniature war game systems, I have created a fictional nation. I call it the Nation of Kinnearland. And the purpose of that nation is to represent my own personal military tactics and strategy theories, as well as presenting my own military technology theories within various RPG systems and miniature wargame systems, which the player can custom design military units, military vehicles, military weapons, and stuff. Fictional military units, fictional military weapons. Okay. So, like the online game system, ERHER. Another example would be Galactic Civilizations. I have Galactic Civilizations 2 Dreadlords. I want to get Galactic Civilizations 3 because I think that's an excellent upgrade to Civilization 2. I believe from what I saw in the YouTube videos, Galactic Civilizations 4 is not so good. I think Galactic Civilizations 5 may be a better upgrade to 4. But another example would be Battletech. I have Battletech 2nd Edition. The MechWarrior the Battletech video game series MechWarrior is based on Battletech 3rd Edition. Well, the original MechWarrior video game series was based on Battletech 3rd Edition, which introduced the clan technology. Then the Battletech universe, the game system, has updated since then. The MechWarrior series, video game series, has updated since then. 1992. Let's see here. Another about DC Heroes role-playing game allows you to create vehicles. Traveler 1940, copyright 1980. Traveler's science fiction adventures in our far future. Mega Traveler, Traveler 2300, Traveler the New Era. They allowed custom ship designs, starship designs. Battletech did the Mecha. CityTech allowed for infantry unit customization, also vehicle, armor tanks, and other types of weaponized vehicle designs. Aerotech did aircraft, aerospace vehicle, aerospace fighters. Let me see here. That's all second edition that I have. I have the second edition of MechWarrior RPG. Let's see here. What other game system that allows you to scratch design? Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. I don't own that game system. And then Rule of the Waves. There's 1, 2, and 3. I don't own that game system. I'm more familiar with Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts than I am with Rule of the Waves. But what I've seen in Rule of the Waves is much better as far as naval ship design is concerned. Customization. The visual graphics for Rule of the Waves is low end. But the ship data information is high end, and you can get really detailed. Game systems like World of Warships and Navy Field and War Thunder. You do not have ship vehicle customization the way IRONCLADS Ether Flyers does, the way Galactic Civilizations does, the way Exorasi does, the way Battletech, CityTech, and Aerotech does. So, yeah. This is basically what I do. Within this video session, I'm going to create a new battleship design, and the objective is I'm going to take Goliath and this battleship design, and have them go against each other on the battlefield. I'm going to try to do a solo battle between the two ships to demonstrate the gameplay mechanics of IRONCLADS and Ether Flyers, and to demonstrate the combat abilities associated with naval warship designs within the Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts video game system. Not correction, within the IRONCLADS and Ether Flyers video game system. I watched way too many UAT videos. Yeah. 90% of what I know about Ultimate Dreadnoughts comes from YouTuber Stealth 70 Gaming, and I started watching his videos about 6 months to 9 months after he posted his first video, and then when he quit doing videos when the DLC multiplayer DLC came out, pretty much, I was done with it. Ultimate, as far as Real's graphics concerned, Ultimate Armor Dreadnoughts is a good naval game system, but in terms of mechanics, Warship design mechanics, Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought does not go where I want to go and into naval warship design mechanics. Navy Field is better than World of Warships, or Navy Field 1.0, which was 2012 to 2014 production, is better than World of Warships. Then Navy Field did a revision with Navy Field 2 and allowed for female avatars, and I was so I did, I don't know, my fleet was nothing but female avatars. The only reason I had male sailors is because there was no female sailors. I couldn't find female avatars to fill in the slots. But when I found female avatars to fill in the male slot that's occupied by male sailors, bye bye guys, come in girls. I am, I have no problem with females being frontline military combatants. However, it is I'm 60 years old, and based on my observations of females, or my generation, older generations, women do not have the psychology to deal with military combat the way males can handle military combat. The stresses associated with military combat, the psychological stresses. As far as the physical physical capabilities, as far as combat, strength, for example, endurance, whatever. I don't have a military background. I come from a military family. My mom's dad was an Air Force officer. He was a desk sergeant because he's colorblind. He was severely colorblind, according to mom. So he was a desk sergeant during World War II. Her grandfather, he was a tough hombre during World War One. Let's see here. So I come from a military family on my mom's side. My dad's side was not military. And from first grade to third grade, 1970 to 1975, I grew up on watching war movies because of the Vietnam War. And so I have some orientation, and during my high school years, I studied military technology and military history as a personal hobby. And so I have, and I grew up watching archaeology programs on Egypt, the Egyptian Empire, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, stuff like that. Robert Leakey's discovery of Australopithecus. Native American history, archaeological history. So I have a general understanding of military warfare, tactics, strategy, technologies from the Stone Age to the present day. I'm not up to date with present day military technologies the way I was with the 1980s military technologies. So, and there is a vast difference between the 1980s military technologies and what's available today. Also, I was 3 years old when Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. So I grew up being interested. Well, I was alive when the Apollo 1 fire occurred, but I was too young to understand the Apollo 1 fire. But because of the Apollo 1 fire, I was always interested in manned spacecraft designs. And so when Apollo 8 occurred, it was like, okay, ooh. But for me, Apollo 11 was, yes, we Earth humans and our peaceful presence in outer space and all that sort of stuff yeah, I'm all for that. And I became an outer space science fiction fan. So I grew up watching, at that time, Lost in Space, the original series, was in its last 2 seasons. My favorite Martian, which was not an outer space series, but it had featured an alien from outer space living on Earth. That was in its last season. Then Star Trek kicked in. Space 1999, UFO, Doctor Who. I didn't watch a lot of Doctor Who because I was familiar with all the doctors. I watched the Star Trek TOS from 1972 to 1985. Around 84, 85, I started watching Doctor Who on a regular basis. I found the time slot, and I started watching Doctor Who from William Hartel's first year all the way through Tom Baker's. And when he quit, I was like, along with a lot of other Trekkie Whovians, Tom Baker's gone, I'm out of here. But I continue watching sporadically the Doctor Who series. So I'm familiar with all the doctors. The black guy, I haven't seen any of his episodes. But, so I don't know what's going on right now with Doctor Who at this moment. So, but then let's see here, what else? Star Blazers, the original Star Wars trilogy, number 3, episode 4, episode 5, episode 6. I did watch 1, 2, and 3. I did watch the new trilogy, which sucked big time. And I had watched some of the Clone Wars episodes, animations episodes, but I did not really follow that. I just was seeing what was going on there. I saw the Rogue One movie, which was pretty good. And so, and it's your Robotech series. I'm not a Gundam fan. If you're a Gundam fan, you don't like Robotech. If you like Robotech or Macross, you're not a Gundam fan. Let's see here. There are, 2001: Space Odyssey, of course. Silent Running was another major influencer on my space flight thing. It's also, Silent Running is a major influencer on robots and stuff. The main thing when it comes to robots and artificial intelligence and androids, Battlestar Galactica, the TOS series, is was a major influencer. So back to outer space sci-fi. Yeah, so that's back in 85, 86. By that time, Yeah. So I grew, and so for me, spaceship design and IRONCLADS ether flyers does allow for spacecraft designs. You have ether flyers, and then you have aero flyers. So um, this is what I do. If there's no TV set, there are no computers, there is no radio, I'd be doing RPGs. Okay, so IRONCLADS ether flyers. Wait a minute. Yep, Canadian Navy, Naval Warship Design. Okay. Last thing I need to do, have my glasses break again. Okay. IRONCLADS ether flyers. Canadian Navy. Naval Warship Design. Name, Godzilla. Yeah, I'm a Godzilla fan. Canadian, within the background storyline of Canadian, especially with Godzilla, is a religious figurehead, and the Shoujo movies is is um is the information on Godzilla. Okay. Based with the Monarch storylines, what is, there was the Monarch, the Monarch storylines concerning the kaiju there's a religious people in the ancient times that were worshiping the kaiju, and so that's not, no, that's, that storyline, the idea that Canadian was using Godzilla as a figurehead predates that, because this, 1985, 1986, I grew up on Godzilla movies. So the Monarch storyline is okay, whatever. So so the first time I used Godzilla for a vehicle design was actually Battletech, second edition. I created a 100-ton mecha based on the Mac 2 destroyed within the Robotech series, or Macross, and one more armored carrier. And so I within the Battletech games, is the original version had the 4 barrels, the artillery barrels was on the torso or PPCs, and then I had a PPC on each arm. I've done variants of that, the launch design. So there are other, ace armored autocannons, and maybe large lasers. There's various different weapon loadouts I did with that, but that's basically what Godzilla, the Mecha Godzilla, which was the original, the MST1 design. So is based on that. This so that's that. Got that sheet. Now, Canada Navy Godzilla calculation sheet. Okay. Now, what I have various different part of my military tactics and strategy theories, which I developed during my high school years after studying military technology. One of the battleship designs I use is what I call crossing the T battleship design. Basically, what the HMS Dreadnought, HMS Dreadnought 1902 and 1906 design was based on. It's Stealth 17 Gaming, when he was doing in his original video series, UAD video series, he referred to close air and brawling battleships, which is what Godzilla is. Which is what a close crossing the T battleship is. For me, crossing the T, there's you have a fleet going this, you're coming together. Okay, this is head on. And you have the fleet's going this way, the enemy fleet's going this way, and you're coming in. He's crossing your T. You're going like this, and the enemy comes in. You are crossing their T. So there are two different ways of, strategy when it comes to crossing the T's, depending on where your fleet is to the enemy. And with HMS Dreadnought, you have a main gun turret here, a main gun turret here, a main gun turret here, which means you have 3 turrets to the facing the enemy broadside. Whereas if you have the super fine turrets that the USS Nevada had, you only had 2 turrets facing the enemy broadsides. Whereas if you're over here, Dreadnought had the turret, and the Nevada had turret facing in. And if there's Dreadnought here, you've got turret. So you have 3 turrets, but that was, how you did that. So that's what the broadside does. That's what the crossing the T does. It allows you to deal with the enemy fleet regardless what position you're in. IRONCLADS either flyers. Wait, nope. Canadian Navy. Godzilla. Calculation sheet. Now, another thing about close-in crossing the T battleship designs is they are designed to come in and move through the enemy fleet. And so, if the enemy fleet comes in or goes like, if it comes in like this or you go in like this, it's, crossing T's get in there and pound everybody while they're moving, passing through. And that kind of self-17 game called his battleship designs I just did as close-in brawling battleships. Thing is, he liked battle cruisers, and his battleships tended to be weak on the deck armor protection, and so you get into secondary gun range. His ships would get into secondary gun range, and he'd try to get into tertiary gun range with the enemy ships, basically with 2-inch guns, 3-inch guns, and his ships would get pummeled by secondary gun deck hits. And he would lose his battles due to secondary, yeah. Another, so, then this is the, yes. So, and the thing is about the UAD YouTubers that I've seen, with the exception of Godspeed Thunder, they were like, I'll defeat anybody and everybody. This is how you design a fleet too. And that's not why I'm interested in naval warship game systems like Ultimate Air Dreadnoughts and Rule the Waves. That is not why I started playing Navy Field. Navy Field had game mechanics was based on the same information that I saw on naval warship technologies in the 1980s, during my 1980s high school studies of military technology. And I was like, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? Yes. Can I do that? Yes. And can I do the other? Yes. So, okay. And then, so I started, that's why I chose to play Navy Field. I looked at World of Warships, blah, blah, blah. World of Warships is NFL Blitz. It's comparable to NFL Blitz. Navy Field 1 is comparable to Madden NFL. Okay. I played Madden NFL on my GameCube. I bought GameCube the year before the Wii came out. And so at that time, Wii was referred to as Revolution. But when it came out, they changed it to Wii. My nephews and nieces were raised on video game systems, game consoles. Nintendo NES, PlayStation, Sega, Sony. They did not have GameCube. They did not. They did not have. They were not exposed to GameCube game systems, and so they had Game Boys. I had a Game Boy SP Advance. So I played with the SP Advance. I got the Pokemon Ruby Sapphire, and then I also had the guidebook that came with it. There was a package with Ruby Sapphire and the guidebook. I bought the entire package. And so with Madden NFL, then I also bought the NCAA football seasons, 2002, 2005 seasons with Madden NFL and college. You can custom create a player. You can custom create play formations. You can custom create plays. You can custom create your own team, team uniform, stadium. You can customize your own playbook. And so, yeah, when I came to Mario Smash, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, they did circles around me. But when it came to the football games, outside of the NFL Blitz, I did circles around them. And so, yeah. Your name. Type. So, Navy Field, World of Warships, actually it's be World of Warships, Navy Field, and War Thunder. They say you can play with these War II warship designs. That the game mechanics does not represent the combat capabilities of those warships. Navy Field 1 and 2, Navy Field 1 was more accurate than what World of Warship is, and War Thunder is a copy of World of Warships, as far as I'm concerned. Navy Field was not a knockoff, and was better. But the Rule of the Waves, I've seen about half a dozen videos on Rule of the Waves, and the ship design is very, very complicated. I think with Navy Field 1, 2012, 2014, 15, I think 15 is that version 2, 15 and 16. 2012 to 2014. You could customize your shells for each gun. You can Yeah, you can customize your shells. You can say each the light shells. You can have light armor piercing shells. You can have light HE shells. You can have heavy AP shells, heavy HE shells. You can have a light AP shells, heavy HE shells, which is a combination I used. You can have heavy AP shells and light HE shells for each gun design that you put on your ship. So, and then you can maximize, you can say you want X amount of AP shells, and you can have X amount of HE shells. You're allowed to have, each gun had a maximum capacity of shells, and then you allocate how much out of that maximum capacity, how much is that AP and how much is that HE. So you can go 100% AP, you can go 100% HE, or you can go 10, 90, 30, 40, 50, 50, whatever. Or, you can use whatever number you want. That you can go by ratio. You can actually go by the actual count of shells too. So, which is something that World of Warships doesn't do. A War Thunder does not allow you to do. So, not all of my warship designs have ramps on them. Some of them do, some of them don't. Crossing the T battleship designs do have rams. Long range support battleship designs do not have ram because they're not meant to get in close like the Crossing the T battleship design does. So and then you have armor cruisers. Some armor cruisers, like the mini battleship armor cruiser design, will have a ram on it because they get up close and personal, and okay, that's what they. So ramming is a possibility. I am a rammer. I use ramming techniques in Navy field. So, yeah. The video game, Wing Commander Privateer, I was a rammer. And the guy's like, "You're crazy." And then they basically started, we're like, begging, "You're crazy, you're a madman," type comments because I was ramming up. Yeah. Yes, when it comes to outer space combat, I am an aerospace fighter. I believe in aerospace, the utilization of aerospace fighters against warships. So warships being large vessels, The Millennium Falcon is a medium-sized ship. The Millennium Falcon is not a fighter. It's not like an X-Wing fighter, the TIE fighter, the Colonial Viper, the Cylon Raider, the TOS Cylon Raider. The Y2K Cylon Raider is based on the Wing Commander Privateer Kirarathi spaceship designs. Blah. Not their blah, but Battlestar Galactica Cylon's doing that. Blah. The sphere. I mean, the 1970. That is so iconic. That So Battlestar Galactica is Battlestar Galactica and Robotech are excellent examples of outer space warfare with space fighters and spaceships. Star Wars. Star Wars is not really into the tactics and strategies of military warfare. Star Wars is not really into the science and technology of naval spacecraft designs and space weaponry systems. Star Wars is storyline centric. Is more storyline centric. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos in recent years, past year or two, and watching 1970s Japanese TV shows, claymations, if you want to call them claymations, the model, the puppets, type things. The details that the Japanese put into their things. I mean, oh my God. Oh my God. It's just awesome. You look at the robots. Look at the robots that Japan is putting out. The humanoid robot designs. Japan created the first fully automated industrial robot when I was in elementary school. The Toyota Motor Company in Tokyo, Japan, created an industrial robot, a fully automated industrial robot that was designed to paint automobile bodies. The undercoating, the priming, the overcoating stuff of all the parts. They ran out of paint. They get in there. They ask containers. They bring the sprayer. It runs out. There's an automated system where it takes the empty case out and brings in another replacement from storage, and the storage is getting low. The machine says, hey, we need more paint of this color, of this type, you know, for this machine here, we need, you know. And it's like, okay, and so you had a guy come in every once in a while, just make sure the numbers, the fluids, and stuff is going, you know, the electronics, pneumatics, you know, all the numbers are working properly, are within performance specs. If they're not, okay, we said that. But, you know, they didn't have any problems with that. The machine told them, okay, we're good, you know, there's a problem with the sensor here, and then, okay, what's the problem with the sensor? The guy comes in, okay, this is that, okay, here's the reason why this is a problem. And, you know, 1975, 74, 75, 73, I'm not sure. Then the American automobile industry goes, what? So then all of the companies, American industry companies, everybody, Chrysler, GM, Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge, laid off the factory workers. We're putting in new robots. And all the jobs, and go fuck yourself. You're on your own. Guy with 3 weeks shy of pension. No perfect worker, ideal worker. You're denied your pension because you did not get your full 20-year thing, whatever it was. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm being screwed here. Yeah. And that was the most stable job you can get, the most secure job you can get. For burger joints came in, fast food restaurants came in the 1950s. Okay, aside from the burger joints, the cashier clerks at Sears, whatever, your general stores. You got your cashier clerks. You got your Sackers, your grocery stores. Those are your entry level jobs. The most secure thing you can get is working at an automobile factory as a factory lineman. And all I had to do was not fuck up, not cause, coming to job high or on drugs and screwing up their line and causing injuries and death to other workers. You don't do a crime off duty and then get in jail for 6 months, whatever. As long as you're not a major factor, you had a job. But most people use that job. This is the first job. You get a good rep, and I didn't want to go to college. They work there to get enough money to pay for college. They go there to get their college they're going to college. They're getting to college. They graduate from college. Their first job is the automobile factory until they find a job to meet their college degrees. Not a problem. Come in, do your job. Okay, I found a job. I'm going to go off somewhere. Now it comes in, not a problem. You know, and then one day on the news, the news reports we're laying off all the factory workers, line workers, because we're putting in industrial robots. 5 o'clock news report. That's when they learned that they didn't have a job the next day. Don't come in tomorrow because you're being laid off. What the fuck? I was in third, fourth grade. So that was 75. 75, 76. Job security? Yeah, right. No such thing. And in the 1980s, college students come in, you know, I'm a high schooler, you know, college graduates in 1980s. Neil deGrasse Tyson's age group comes out, can't get a job, can't find a job. 2000s, you know, 20 modern day college students coming out. There's no job for me. You know, you have to, you know, you got to be self-employed. You know, you got to say, okay, I have this job, so I'm going to do this and do that. You know, I'm the creator of the Flower Child Project Man spacecraft design concept. I'm a high school graduate. I'm a collegiate flunky. I'm a trade school flunky. Okay, I flunked bartending trade school classes. I flunked out the architectural trade school class. I flunked out of architecture. Well, I didn't flunk out of class. I flunked out of trade school class. I flunked out of college. I had architectural training in college, but I had other classes in college. I flunked that. I was on scholastic suspension when I moved to San Antonio in June of '86. So, as a 20-year-old. And I didn't know where any 20-year-olds hung out in San Antonio. And I couldn't hook up with my friends in Victoria, Texas. Yeah. So, propulsion, horsepower. Gen X. Speed, engine size. So, like I said, I have 3 years of high school technical drafting training. I have some architectural drafting training from college. I have some architectural drafting training from trade school. So I can look at a drafting schematic and know what I'm looking at. I can do hand-drawn drafting schematics. I have no CAD, computer-aided drafting training. No, in 1997, I bought DeltaCAD 3.0. I bought KeyCAD. KeyCAD was a hell on wheels. I did this is 97, yeah. I did not have click and drag skills. Click and drag was not something I could do. And here's the thing. I'd be creating an object. Okay. This. So, let's say this is the CAD. You're on open on CAD. So I'm creating an object, and I'm trying to resize it, and then I have to move the screen, and then continue resizing it. After I move the screen, I could not with DeltaCAD. With KeyCAD, and I had a similar problem with DeltaCAD. I couldn't tap it again and continue on resizing it. And then if I click on it, I let go of it or something, and then I need to re-click on it and try to go again. It would not happen. KeyCAD was pain in the rear. DeltaCAD was a pain in the rear too, but I bought KeyCAD as a box set, so I had a little manual for KeyCAD. When I bought DeltaCAD 3.0, I only bought it as a $10 CD, DVD thing. When they were first advertised, when I first saw them on Best Buy, AutoCAD LT was available. Yeah. And that's because the battery is not plugged in. This thing's so old now. Gotta keep it plugged in for the battery to stay on. When I first saw it, AutoCAD LT and DeltaCAD and KeyCAD, LT was like $180. KeyCAD was $160. And DeltaCAD was like $160, or something like $140, something like that. And then the first sale came on, and so it went from like maybe it was $200, $80 to $160. AutoCAD LT needed a high state-of-the-art computer system to operate. I had no access to the state-of-the-art computer system to operate AutoCAD. AutoCAD was out, way out of my price range. Not happening. KiCad and DeltaCAD could operate on a computer system that I had access to. Again, $180, $160. First sale, $160, $40, $120, and then went down to $60, and that there was like DeltaCAD was like $20 or $40, or somewhere between $20 and $40 before it went to. Then the next downgrade was the $10 CD by itself without the box. So it's like, dang it, I went to buy the box. I had the $20, $40, what it was to buy the box, and there was no box. It was just a $10 CD. So this is the pencil. This is not. Where's the pen? There's the pen. So I did not have. I only scratched about 10% of the capabilities of DeltaCAD 3.0, and in the time I use it from I bought it in 1997, and either I installed it for the first time either in 1998 or sometime between 1998 and 2002. I had installed it on a number of computer systems over the years, and the last computer system I put it on was like a 2006 computer system, which died in 2008, 2012. Sometime in 2008, 2012 was the last time I was able to work with DeltaCAD 3.0. In 2003, I started on my 2004 presentation folder. I got to talk to Nichelle Nicole and Walter Conan about my flower child project. I fucked that up big time. And sorry guys about that. And then 2004, I had my initial presentation folder, which was 50% incomplete because it only talked about how the flower child spacecraft design was different from the Apollo CSM-LM spacecraft design. And the flower child project was more than converting the Apollo CSM into the flower child. The flower child is actually a prototype model for research and developing spacecraft designs that go from Earth orbitable spacecraft designs to Earth and Lunar spacecraft design from Earth and Lunar to Earth Mars spacecraft designs. And you go from 1 month mission to 3 months mission, 6 months mission, 9 months mission. You just expand on the science and technology to get more people on there on the spacecraft, longer duration spacecraft, and for outer space primary outer space exploration and outer space tourism. Those were the two primary mission roles for the Flower Child spacecraft designs. But those two spacecraft, the orbit to orbit only designs, the outer space only orbit to orbit designs of the Flower Child, which is meant to be built to construct an Earth's orbit, which was the original concept. In 2017, 2018, I said, it'd be better off building the spacecraft, the outer space only spacecraft on the moon, because you got gravity. The moon has gravity, and so things fall down, and so that that simplifies the spacecraft construction considerably compared to trying to have a vehicle assembly orbiting Earth, in a zero gravity environment. So, yeah, I do not. That is beyond my scientific knowledge, beyond my technical knowledge, expertise, and stuff. And it's just, you got, as so if you're a college graduate, you got to get in with other people, say, I got something to, do you agree with this? And then just try to pull our finance together. Basically, you have to be a millionaire, a billionaire with money to throw away, like Elon Musk, like Donald J. Trump, and just go, okay, fine, let's do this. But most people are not in that capacity, so if you're a college grad, you're just kind of screwed over. Ship weight. PW. Speed. Hull size. And here's the purpose of the 2004 presentation folder was the handouts was to John Kerry was one of the half a dozen Democrat politicians who were running for president, and to against George W. Bush, who was president at the time. So, the idea, I presented a thing to give this to John Kerry because he's the one I was going to vote for. He's the one I did vote for. As to talk about STEM education, job opportunities, and nope, not a peep. George what happened was I gave it to the Democratic Party in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They gave this to John Kerry. They gave it to Dick Cheney, who was vice president, because vice president is responsible for NASA, overlooks NASA for the president. They gave it to Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney gave it to George W. Bush. And a week or two later, he had his speech. I was homeless at the time, so I never got to saw his outer space speech. The debate occurred. Nada on space exploration, nada on STEM education, space exploration as a means of STEM, boosting the American economy, making America great, Donald Trump says, let's make America great again. Yeah, how? STEM education, jobs, factory workers, no. Now, AI is replacing everybody. What's left? People are going to be on the streets. People, going to have to live off the land. There's no land to live off of. We got to live like Native Americans just to survive. And there's no, white American culture is not set up for that. In street gangs and, I've done half a dozen stints as a homeless person. Shelters are located in gang-infested neighborhoods. Okay? You're in gang-infested. your shit is going to get stolen. Your shit is going to get your possessions are going to get stolen. Your possessions are going to get destroyed. Okay. You're in an unhealthy environment. You're going to end up with diabetes because, the food offerings, the shelter, some shelters allow for church members, local church groups to bring in church. You got, like in Tulsa, yeah, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the daycare center allowed for company brought in donuts every day for the homeless people. Krusty Donuts or something like that. Brought in donuts for diabetes big time. Bread. There's a bread company brought in breads, wheat bread, rye bread, various different types of breads. There's some people that brought on weekends for lunch. They brought in sandwiches. They bologna and cheese sandwiches with cookies and milk and sodas. The church groups did had cookouts for the homeless people. They bring in buses and then drive them somewhere to on a Sunday, and outdoor service for that, and then had cookouts. Volunteer groups like that. It's not homelessness is not a good thing. It's a very bad thing. And that's where the American economy is going with all this AI BS. And the AI technology is BS. It's not artificial intelligence. It's BS. The way I write, my writing style is unique because I created it. I have my own writing style, my own calculation rules, how I use mathematical symbols in my prose format when outside of mathematical concepts. Talking about like the book, what the Jules, Introduction to Aircraft Performance Dynamics, and there's something else. Okay, copyright 1969, first edition. The guy is mathematical, therefore not pro. So he's used the terms center of gravity, fuselage center of gravity. The editors of the book rewrote this fuselage CG to the center of gravity of the fuselage, and there's therefore. So you have you got formers talking about airfoil instances and chords, airfoil chords, power lift ratios, and There's all kinds of, so you got block information here, block information here, you know, you get block data divided by block data, you know, multiply, and you know, multiplied by block data, or divide by block data times block data plus block data, you know, it's like, oh my God. And just, I did the introduction, I did chapter 1, maybe, I got maybe up to chapter 3, maybe. I did 1 and 2. I think I got as far as chapter 3, but the book I got from the public library. I was taking notes from the public library. The book that I need my eyesight. Can't find. I lost my pen. Better not fall down. There it is. So, and they can't. AI, you know, so I developed my writing style back in 1980. Actually, the mathematical symbols in my prose, I was doing that in first grade. And by the time I was in 5th and 6th grade, after 5th and 6th grade, I stopped doing that. And then 9th and 10th grade, I started doing it again. Sporadically, all the way through 86. When I was in college, I did some of my writings, college writings. Then it went out. And then maybe once every 10, 20 years, I use the mathematical symbols in my prose. It does not happen very often, but when it does happen, it's a thing. You know? So, but then I have my own capitalization rules. I use the upside down question mark symbol on when I'm asking questions, because back in 84 and 85, I was writing a lot of essays, personal essays on projects I was doing, storyline concepts, RPG campaigns concepts. I was writing letters to newspapers, news magazines, TV programs, and I'd be reading along, and I got a question in there in my sentence, and the question gets overlooked. Looks like a statement. Then there's what? That's a question. I had to reread it a couple of times. Oh, okay, I get the question. What the question is? Oh, how's the question? And so, in 84 and 85, I decided, okay, to fix that problem, I'm going to put the upside down question mark in there. And so that was the first editing of my new writing style. Then I started, because I was writing about, when I was writing letters to paper, anything and everything under the sun, archaeology, geology, biological medicine, so, politics, war, spacecraft, role-playing games, board games, TV programs, international law, local law, whatever. Each had their own rules in terms of capitalizations and italics. And again, I was playing role-playing games at that time. So it's like, okay, this is a confused mess. And so I created my own capitalization rule system, and which I use today. But it's been evolved. It has evolved over time, and so between 86 and 2004, I was making a lot of errors in my own capitalization rules utilization. And then in 2004, I started going online, blogging online, and that was a whole new kettle of fish as far as capitalization was concerned. When I was playing Minecraft, the forums allowed for italics and bold print, and so you can combine the italics with bold print. You can do italics by itself, you can do bold print. So I was doing all of that. Other formats, online formats, did not allow any italics, did not allow any bold font. So you want to, the capitalization rules had to switch between formats, and I'd be using one format for a while and get used to one system, and then change to another format, had to relearn that, use that system for a while, then go back to original, so between 2004, 2012, there was a lot of confusion and the establishment of the capitalization rules, the utilization of italics, and the utilization of bold font, and a combination of italics and bold font. So by the time I started using Facebook for my FLYERS project, I started standardizing on the utilization of italics, bold font, and bold italics font. So and then in 2018 I lost the computer systems, and so I started working on smartphones and tablets. Well, started blogging on YouTube using smartphones, and that was a totally different system. So the punctuations and the bullet point system that I use now evolved. It's still evolving, so my writing style is constantly evolving. I'm better, I'm more stable, more consistent with my capitalization systems now than I was 20 years ago. So, and AI can't get my words right. AI can't get my spellings right. Gibberish. I write a word, and I guess I'm writing a word, I misspell it, and then the AI checker replaces with gibberish. Total gibberish. It's like, gangsta shorthand and on whatever. Speed, coal bunker, coal bunker, nope. And the way that the AI is being published is the way video games are being published before YouTube, before Google Play became a thing. You had to go, Artix, Electronic Artists had online sites, gaming platforms, and you go there and purchase the game, and the there was the game systems are copy and paste of each other, basically. And then now, so, uh, different coding, different coding languages, which requires different coding sequences. I'm familiar with GW Basic. Um, bunker size. Bunker weight. Engine size. Endurance. Armor. Okay, once I'm done with this sheet, I'm going to end the video. I went way off topic. And it is 1 hour and 31 minutes of ranting. Yeah, the design, doing the data assessment of what's going to be done is going to take a couple hours. Doing the actual calculations, doing the actual filling out the data sheet and doing the mathematics. That's going to take another couple hours. The smartphone that I'm using for a camera has about 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours and 45 minutes of recording time. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to, so I don't know. I'm just going to do this in next, do the Battleship Design in the next video. Hopefully I can do it all in one go and not go off topic the way I did with this video and the way I did with last video. Last two videos. And when I did the Goliath, I had to do that in 2 videos because I went off topic concerning English measurements versus American Standard English measurements versus the metric system measurements. Yeah, I'm doing this live, off script. There's no script. I can't do, I don't have the means of making, recording a video. Okay, wait, I gotta start at mid-air, so cut, and then make another video, and continue, start from the error, or make I can't make a series of videos and then paste them together to make one big YouTube video. That's not, I don't have the computer system to do that with. Actually, I don't have a decent area to make a video. I don't have a decent recording area, recording studio location. So I'm not really set up to make good quality videos. Now I have done some of the videos I've created videos concerning Minecraft. I have done videos concerning utilization of Prisma 3D version 3, in which I'm actually doing stuff. And you know, like the YouTubers, the EAD YouTubers, they've got a, you know, first of all, it's a PC game. So you got the game that's going on. Okay, yeah. Wait a minute, I gotta wait. So you got it. So there's a video. They got a monitor of what that's being recorded. They're doing a what scan, live scan of that thing that's on this monitor, but this monitor is a representative. The actual this is a cop. This monitor is representing what's going on over here, which is your actual gameplay monitor. So while you're doing this over here, you can, you know, you're seeing, you know, and then what they do is record that, and then sometimes they edit out, they cut stuff out, they add GIFs or other videos into the thing. They splice in other videos. They have them, you know, on a computer, and then, you know, they add audios and stuff, you know. Splice. I do not have that technology, so I can't do that. So I have to do everything live. And turrets, max, total, size, guns, battery weight, I can do that. Bulkheads, so value, full size, bulkhead weight, primary turret, the some of my warship designs have a primary turret and a secondary turret. Two main gun sizes. The primary the big main gun, and then the small main gun. So, and it was popular in the 1850s, 1870s. Number, total weight. Secondary turret. I also, yeah, that's right. But I do utilize that and that type, the the big main gun and the small main gun armament. I do continue utilizing that throughout the time periods, the various different ages of naval warship technologies. Um, the Iron and Steam Age, which is the Victorian Age, which is pre-Harvey Steel. This is also known as the pre-Dreadnought era. The pre-Dreadnought era does include Harvey Steel. Actually, the pre-Dreadnought era is classified into pre-Harvey Steel and Harvey Steel. The Dreadnought era incorporates Krupp steel armor. So okay, I need to redo that. Okay. I have another one of these somewhere. It's in the desk, but I've been using this one, so I don't have to shake it as much. The other one will have to be shaken if it's hitting out somewhere. Just because I keep these together when I throw it in the disc. Continue on back. Get out of there. Whatever. There we go. So that's the front side. Now the back side. Wait a minute. Oh. Okay. Name? Where is it? I'm having time seeing the lines. Name, type, player. weapon placement. Firing arc. Weight. Costs. Then way on the bottom, is Vinny. Total armament cost. And so that's that. I don't need that piece of paper anymore. I gotta put some more notebook paper in there. Well, actually not anymore. Well, yeah. Not really. Okay, this is the demo. All the other stuff I did in the video series. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And then, of course, the original one. So, design, there it is. Calculation sheet, ship design, and for Godzilla, and there we go. So, so in the next video, I'm going to be designing Godzilla. The Crossing the T Battleship Godzilla.